it's Rob here and welcome to the next of my build videos on Tamiya's The Frog ORV chassis build. And today we're going to start off at step 14, making up the shocks. But before we do, here's one I made earlier. So as you can see, it basically lies flat and works really well by the looks of that to me. So we've only got two on this build because there aren't any on the front, and these have been upgraded for this reissue of this kit to these rather smart aluminium ones. So let's get into it. And I'm sure you've seen it all before, but surprisingly, the damper piston comes separate in the kit, already cut out. If we just, this is some of the other bits, and as you can see, it's all already got different pistons in that kit, but these come in one of the parts bags denoted as, what is it, MS1. So we go on, we get two E-clips to hold it on to the piston rod. Go. That's all that done. Then for the bottom of the actual damper body, we need to put two O-rings and part V10 in, and as usual I'm going to be using some of this green slime in this bit to hopefully keep some of the shock oil in. This V10, and there is a way round. There's a little lip on one side, and that should tie up, I think. Yeah, looking at the diagram here, you might not be able to see it. And then it just screws on, but what concerns me is I can't feel it getting tight like the other ones used to. But hey, we will see. And then we take the piston, poke it through, clean that slime off a bit. And these ball connectors aren't threaded. So you're going to need your pliers. That should do us. Yep. And then we can add the oil. Piston up and down a bit. Try and get every bit of air out. And then what you'll find is there are lots of little tiny air bubbles in the top, so we put it to one side and leave it for a good few minutes. So we'll be back once it's all the air's gone. Once all the air bubbles have dispersed, we can just pop a bit more in, just to be on the safe side. Then we can get a cloth or paper towel in this instance and wrap it round, and then get the diaphragm, which is MS3, and pop it in. Like so. Then we need MS4 and V9. And screw that up so that it's nice and tight. And there we have one damper. Pull it back, and it is quite a stiff spring, this. And there we have one shock absorber made up, and to fit it is just a simple case of 2 step screws. Like so, and they just need tightening up, and we can move on to the next step, which is 17, which is just adding the pinion gear to the motor. And this, what do they call it? Do they call it anything? The motor plate to the motor. And as I say, I've gone for the 19 tooth, and there's a little note in the corner telling you it needs to be 16.5 millimeters from the base of the motor to the very top of the pinion gear, and I've done all of that and tightened the screw up ready, so we can move on to the next step. Step 18 is installing the motor and one of the battery holders like this. So I think we'll start with that. Oops. And we need this part A1 and 2 BA4s, which are 4 by 12mm screws. Oops. There we go. And then installing the motor. Should be a simple case, he says. Let's just check, shall we? Yeah, we should be able to get that. One motor installed, ready for step 19. Step 19 is installing some of the electronics and also the other battery holder A1, which oops, as you can see, I've already done that, and this is where this movable bar comes into play. The instructions tell you to mount your electronic speed controller on the side of the servo. So basically we need to fit it in here. Like so. We've then got 2 of these BA4, which are flanged tapping screws, and I don't think it actually matters. I'd preferred all 4, but I think there's only 3 in the kit, so I suppose I could get a couple of normal screws and some washers to do the other 2, but one goes in there, and then as you can see, this is where your movable black plastic bar comes into play. So you can slide it in and out, except it's not moving for me. Oh, there we go. A bit too far, typical. And there's the servo done. And then it's suggesting the receiver. Goes in here somewhere. So I think I'll have a think about that. Steps 20 and 21 is installing the servo saver and steering arms, and this is another one of my Tamiya why. I mean, this is not the most expensive kit, but then it's not the cheapest kit. Yeah, look at these steering rods that they supply. They're so thin, just a slight knock and they're bent out of shape. So yeah, why Tamiya? Why can't you put something decent in these kits? But anyway, that's what I've got to work with so far, so we will carry on. And you need to make 2 sides up, a left and a right, with these rather horrible ball joints that I'm not sure how long they last before they wear out. But yeah, we've got 2 diagrams which are properly to scale, so you can line them up. You don't really need to measure them. So that's step 20 done, and 21 is putting the servo, saver onto the servo. I've already put my part S4 on, the one that fits my servo. So we then need S6, which should just press on, he says. There we go. Blinking ink. I've never had that problem with the servo saver before. So that's the one on eventually. And just before we put this other one on, we're going to put the left and right doobly fittings through, and they just poke through and you bend them round. Like that, and then that will just slot in, and then we need an S1 spacer stroke washer, and then for this one I'm trying the BC2 2.6 by 10mm screw. And then we should just need to pop the ball joints on. Which are scarily easy compared to other ball joints. And I've still got to centre the servo. And I've got to wire up the motor. Don't know if it shows you in this one to wiring it up, no. But then we've also got this part MR7 to put on with 2 BB4s, which I haven't got out. Those 2 there should do. again, because we're screwing into metal, I'm going to put some thread lock on, and it should slot in there. Yeah. And that, apart from plugging the battery in, should be that. So I think I will just wire up the motor and maybe have a look at see if I can tidy the cables up a bit. Right, so there's all the electronics installed and the motor wired up. Quite a stretch that was to fit that, but hey, there we go. So with that, I think I'll end this video here, and we can finish off on the next one by sticking all the wheels and tyres on. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I certainly look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers, bye!